What's going on, Alabama fans? We're going to be previewing number 2 Georgia coming to town against number 4 Alabama. You got Donald Trump coming to town. You got College Game Day coming to town. Might even have an appearance from a hurricane as well. Alabama, a 2.5-point underdog. The first time they've been a home underdog since 2007. That really shows, what Nick Saban was able to do in his time as Alabama's head coach. Over-under on this game also set at 48 currently right now on Tuesday. Look, it's going to be a big game, and I hope Alabama at the end of the day comes out on top. I want to hear from you guys in the comments section before we get into our keys to victory for this game. Predict the score for me, Alabama versus Georgia in Week 5. I think the Crimson Tide got a really good shot. I think Georgia looks like a very beatable team, but Kirby Smart coming off a bye week, coming off a really tough game against Georgia, also a very scary thing to see. So get in the comments section. Let me know your score prediction right now. All right, coming up, our first key to victory in this ball game. Look, I think the offensive tackles for Alabama really have to eat in this game. Specifically, Elijah Pritchett and Kadyn Proctor, both of these guys have only played one game so far this season each, and I thought both of them looked pretty good in both of those games so far. And it's really an opportunity, I think, for Elijah Pritchett really to make a name for himself. Thought he played really well against Wisconsin a couple weeks ago. And look, man, it is absolutely his time to shine. This is his chance to really, show the coaching staff, show the team that he is absolutely the guy at right tackle for Alabama. Like I said, against Wisconsin, didn't give up any pressures in that game. That is definitely something that bodes well for Elijah Pritchett going into this game. And you're going to have to go against one of the best edge rushers in the country, in Michael Williams. I know yesterday on our injury report, I'm an idiot. I kept calling him Malachi Williams. Had Malachi Starks on my mind, but it is Malachi Williams. Look, he got injured in that game against Clemson, but man, the past 2 seasons, he has kind of been a freak, and he's, I would assume just going to get better and better, as he progresses on and on for his career with Georgia. Over 50 pressures. I think he's got 61 total, including 2 pressures from from this year, from that first game against Clemson. And so, man, what Georgia does with him, they kind of line him up in a lot of different places. They line him up on the left. They line him up on the right. So whether he's going to be going against Kadyn Proctor or Elijah Pritchett doesn't really matter to me. I just need these guys to get the best of him more than he does them. Because, look, at the end of the day, he's going to be a guy that gets home a couple of times. So I really need these guys to really step up. Thought Elijah Pritchett was phenomenal against Wisconsin in his first game coming back this season. Really hope that carries over to this game. Same thing with Elijah Pritchett in this game as well. Need him to be a little bit better in the run game. Thought he was pretty solid in the pass game for Alabama against Wisconsin. Really need those things to, stack up in this game against Georgia. So let me know your confidence level in Alabama's offensive tackles. Both guys, Elijah Pritchett and Kadyn Proctor. Scale it for me 1 to 10. 1 on the low end. They can't block a fly. Or 10. Nobody's getting past them. 0 pressures in this game as well. Let me know in the comments section of today's video. Key to victory, number 2 for me, I think we really need to get the running backs going early in this game. Whether that's Jalen Milroe or Justice Haynes, I think both of these guys, have been really, really good for you this year. Both guys averaging over 8.5 yards per carry in total. And you also have Jalen Milroe, who has also been going crazy in the run game so far this season. His stats probably should be a little bit, or definitely should be a little bit better. He had the touchdown run get called back, but man, Alabama's rushing game has been really, really solid for you this year. Jalen Milroe, 9.1 yards per carry. That's incredible through 3 games. Same with Justice Haynes. The last 2 games, he hasn't really gotten the ball a ton, but still over 8.7 yards per carry for Justice Haynes. So, in this game, it doesn't really matter which guy gets the ball. I just want the hot hand to get the ball at the end of the day. And look, I think this is also an opportunity to get these running backs, involved in the passing game. Jalen Milroe last year had 4 receptions for 73 yards and a touchdown, and that one touchdown came against Georgia in the SEC championship game. So, the running backs getting involved with the pass game, I do think can also help Jalen Milroe out, get him, more comfortable, get him some quick, easy passes out, just get him comfortable in the game. I think Alabama, this goes with the offensive line too. They need to help out these running backs. These running backs really need to, help Alabama assert themselves on the ground, because at the end of the day, that's just going to open up the pass for Jalen Milroe. Before we get to the rest of our keys to victory, guys, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor today. That is Factor Meals. And with football season in full swing now, guys, I just have no time to cook, really. And that's why I use Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals thanks to a menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you will always have time to enjoy nutritious, great-tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you guys waiting for? They have so many different options for you as well. They've got breakfast, they've got dessert. You can stay fueled with easy, nutritious options. Treat yourself with restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon. They've got shrimp, they've got blackened salmon, and all those are absolutely phenomenal. Head to factormeals.com/BamaChat50 and use promo code BamaChat50 to get 50% off your first month's order and 20% off your next month as well. That's promo code BamaChat50 at factormeals.com/BamaChat50 to get 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. That link will be in the comment section and the description of today's video. Key to victory number 3 here, Matt. The defense really needs to cook. You got a Georgia offense that just has not looked, great so far this season. They looked okay. They haven't made, stupid decisions, turning the ball over or anything like that. But, they're coming off a bye week. They're coming off a poor performance before that against Kentucky, where they only put up like 13 points in that game. So the defense is really going to have to get after it. I think this guy right here, Kane Womack, is really going to be cooking something up for them. There's so many things that I want the defense to do. I'm just going to go through them really quickly right here. I need the defense to force some turnovers. They were able to do that against Wisconsin, and you saw what they were able to do with that. The offense was able to score some points off of those. I need them to stop the run. You got ETN, he hasn't started off super hot, was suspended the first game, but now I think he's really going to start cooking. And, with their banged-up offensive line, you're really going to have to take advantage of that. You got to pressure Carson Beck. That goes along with the banged-up offensive line thing. You got Quay Russaw. Think he's going to be fine for this game. Quandarius Robinson, think, he's going to be a really big factor in this game as well. LT Overton, all these guys on Alabama's defensive front are going to have to put the pressure on Carson Beck, because he's not as good when teams are able to get pressure on him without sending blitzes. And also, man, this is just a keynote thing. You heard it from Nick Saban all the time. I want to make their asses quit. There's no reason a team should come into Tuscaloosa and make you look like an underdog. Like, you've got so many naysayers out there that think Georgia is going to come in here and whip your ass like Texas did last year. And make no mistake about it, Texas absolutely came in here and whipped your ass last year. Do not want that to happen against Georgia. And what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to swarm the ball. They pride themselves on being a swarm defense. And so far, I think they've done a pretty decent job of it. But, man, I need all 11 guys on every single play to be around the ball carrier, because, Georgia, they're going to take advantage of every single opportunity they can in this game. And going off of all those, like I said, man, you got to pressure Carson Beck in this game. Under pressure, only 36% completion percentage for 45 yards. And he hasn't so far made any, mistakes when it comes to turnovers. He's not making dumb plays. So if you can get some pressure on Carson Beck quickly, maybe you can make him make some, bad decisions at the end of the day that can hurt Georgia. And you got to win the turnover battle in this game. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We will be live an hour before kickoff for Alabama versus Georgia. And do not miss out. We're going to be giving away a Jalen Milroe jersey during this game. So come join us for our Alabama versus Georgia watch party. And make sure you guys are subscribed right now. That's youtube.com/@RollTideTV. Key to victory number 4. Jalen Milroe he cannot force any stupid throws in this game. I think there's been times in the past where that definitely has happened. And I don't think that Jalen Milroe really needs to do that in this game. It kind of goes back to, the running backs really getting involved early. I think that can definitely help him out. But one thing that, Jalen Milroe isn't really known as, this crazy passer. Only one game in his career so far against Texas A&M last year has he thrown for over 300 yards. Alabama does not need Jalen Milroe to go out there and play superhero ball in order to win this game at the end of the day. He can run the ball, he can take his check downs, he can hit those deep balls like we know he's able to do. You don't have to force anything because Georgia has some dudes on the back end. Malachi Starks has been absolutely phenomenal for Georgia. Already has 1 interception this season. Had 5 in his last 2 seasons with 12 other PBUs. That first year, 2022, kind of got cooked a little bit, but still kind of, was a ball hawk, 2 interceptions, 5 PBUs. Last year, that yards allowed came down a lot. The completion percentage came down a lot. So Malachi Starks, definitely somebody that you do not want to make mistakes to. But I do think one guy that they can possibly pick on in this game is Daylen Everette. Number 6, he is a cornerback. And really, against Kentucky, should have been 6 for 6. Kentucky, they dropped a pass in that game, which Everette actually almost picked off, but he was out of bounds on that. So, they and it's crazy. They just stopped going after him. But there was a time in like the second quarter where it was like every second or third play, they were going after Daylen Everette, and he was getting cooked. So I think he is definitely a player that Alabama can pick on in the back end for Georgia. But at the end of the day, I think Alabama needs to get these quick passes going early for Jalen Milroe, whether it's just a check down to a running back, a screen, a bubble screen, anything, quick slants, RPOs. Jalen Milroe really needs to get in a feel in this game. That's just going to, make his confidence grow. And Alabama also really loves their pre-snap motion. That's one of my favorite things about this offense. I think last year, the offense was just so stale and it was so lame and cookie cutter. This offense so far has been really fun. And through 3 weeks, they're still kind of working some of the kinks out. I think coming off this bye week is really going to help because, like I said, that pre-snap motion can help Jalen Milroe read the defense as well, can kind of confuse the defense at the end of the day. And look, I'm not saying Jalen Milroe has been perfect at all so far this season. He has definitely missed some throws, but I think the decisions so far have been, okay for Jalen Milroe. No interceptions so far this year. The 2 fumbles earlier in the season were definitely his fault. Got to get those snaps right. But look, I think the decision-making for Jalen Milroe has been solid, and it's only going to be better if he can get some help on the offensive line, which really hoping he can do this week. They looked really good against Wisconsin. Got to show that against a better quality opponent in Georgia. So I want to hear from you guys in the comments section again. Who do you think the better quarterback is in this game? Type JM if you think it is Jalen Milroe, or type CB if you think it's Carson Beck. I honestly think it's a toss-up. I think Jalen Milroe is better at some things. I think Carson Beck is better at some things. So let me know, who do you guys think is better? Let me know in the comments section right now. Key to victory number 5, Alabama really needs some good special teams play in this game. And look, their special teams have been pretty solid so far, besides the missed kick from Graham Nicholson here. But it's a game of inches. Whether it's the field goals, this game could definitely come down to a field goal. And like I said, Graham Nicholson, he missed 1 kick. He's only lined up for 1 attempt, and it was a 46-yarder on the road. So hopefully, the home atmosphere kind of gets some pressure taking off of him at that, but I still have some confidence in Graham Nicholson. I think, he's going to have to kick a couple of field goals in this game. Really need those to be made. James Burnip, also, on the other hand, the punter for Alabama. has been absolutely lights out. It's crazy to think that, you got to praise a punter, but James Burnip has been phenomenal. 5 for 5 on punts inside the 20-yard line against Wisconsin last week. This is what when you can flip the field like this, kicking from your own 20, landing it on the other team's 16, kicking it from your own 30, kicking it to the other team's 20. I mean, those things are absolutely massive. You have 2 of those also inside the 10. So, like I said, it's a game of field position, and if your offense really, is kind of struggling to get going, your punting can really help your defense out, setting them up in some solid field position at the end of the day. We've got number 2, Georgia, number 4, Alabama. College game day. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere. Call up the shelters. Alabama's going to eat the dogs 24-23.